So I'm finally feeling better, and as you can see, I've got makeup on both my eyes, and I'm just in time for one of my favorite holidays. Hey everybody, today I have filmed a Valentine's Day tutorial with a glitter cut crease. If you've watched my previous videos, I've been encouraging you guys to shop your stash. I've been shopping my stash, and what that means is you go into your stash of makeup and you pick out something that you maybe have been giving enough love and attention to, you pull it out and you use it. So that's what I did for this tutorial today. This tutorial has a little bit of a Valentine's Day theme to it, and as I mentioned, it's a glitter cut crease. And by the way, I have hooded eyelids, so it's glitter cut crease on hooded eyelids. It's not impossible. I'll show you how to do it. So let's get started with the tutorial. Moisturized skin is super important to any look, so I'm starting with the Vichy Mineral 89 Gel Moisturizer. I love this product. I've been using it pretty much in every look I do because it leaves my skin hydrated, smooth, and makeup just applies so much more flawlessly over hydrated skin. So I apply this all over the face, to the neck, to the forehead, everywhere, and even go into the neck. Now for my primer, I'm using my Lancome La Base Pro, and this is a smoothing base that helps to diminish the look of lines and pores, and it leaves skin feeling really soft. So if you find that your foundation is just dry or it's not looking right or not sitting even, this is a product you'll want to use. For my foundation, I'm using another Lancome product. This is the Tient Idel, I never know if I'm saying that right, foundation, and I'm applying it with the Juno Co ES01 foundation brush. This brush is going to give an all-over even coverage that doesn't leave any streaking. Now this foundation is really amazing on its own, but when you use a complementing brush, it can also help your foundation to basically look even better. So good foundation, good brush, it's a duo you want to work with. So as you can see, I'm applying this all over my face. I'm just sweeping back and forth, really just trying to get a decent coverage. I'm doing about a medium coverage here. This isn't full opaque coverage. If you would like a more opaque coverage, you could put a little bit more foundation on. But if you do so, make sure to blend out even more vigorously. Otherwise, you'll have a cakey look. I apply my foundation to the back of my hand, and then I apply as I go. This helps to minimize over application. Over applying leads to a cakey look. Once I finished my foundation, my son wanted to pop in and say hi to his mommy. Lots of kisses, and hi to everybody else, he says. Now for my shadow, I'm going to be using the ColourPop Element of Surprise palette. I got this palette a while ago and I decided, you know what, shop my stash. So I'm applying Opulent on the crease in a sweeping back and forth motion, and this is going to work as a transitional shade. I really like this bright pink shade if you're trying to do something a little bit more bold or more daring. It's definitely not for the everyday look, though if you wanted to use it in an everyday way, you could maybe do just a pop of color on the lower lash line, or maybe even a pop of color on the lid with more neutral tones throughout, and that's a way you can use this in a more neutral way, but I'm going for a more bolder look because this was supposed to be a Valentine's Day tutorial. For my next shade, I'm going to be applying Silk Street, and I'm applying this to the outer V and into the crease. I love that this really deepens the look, defines the look, and really just prepares the whole look for the eventual cut crease that I'm going to do. When you do a cut crease, you really want to make sure that that crease is defined, and you do this by layering shadows together. So you can do shades of the same family, shades of the same color range, or even you can go totally bold and choose different shades. As long as they're layered up within that crease and blended well, you will be fine. For my outer V, I'm applying blank canvas, and I'm applying this in circular motions with a fluffy brush, and I'm also bringing this down to the lower lash line. I love taking my outer V shade and blending it into my lower lash line because I find that it makes the shadow really cohesive, and it just makes the look more smoked out, and I tend to favor that. You don't have to do this in the lower lash line if you don't want. You can always go with the pink if you want a brighter look, or you can go with the second shade for a medium toned look. Now it's time to cut the crease, and I'm cutting the crease using Tarte Cosmetics. This is their Shape Tape Concealer. Now I'm applying this with a flatter brush, and I'm staying right in my crease. I'm staying right below my crease. If you have hooded eyelids, you really don't want to go up too far. You don't want to go up to your actual crease, because if you do that, you're going to get some creasing, and it's not going to be good. So you want to go like right underneath your natural crease. Find the hollow of your eye and go right below that, just a smidgen below that, and you'll be able to cut your crease without issues, and it'll still be very noticeable on the lid. So as you can see, once I've finished doing the cut crease, the base for the cut crease, I'm going to be applying the shade Subdue. Now I'm applying this all over my lid, and this is kind of like a bright purple, and I feel it would look a little bit darker if it wasn't compared to such darker shades on the lid already. But because we're putting it over a bright base and because we're pairing it with some darker shades, this is going to be a bright purple on the lid. So if you're not into bright purples, you can choose a different shade from the palette, but I really wanted that contrast. I wanted that pink and purple, like kind of like a romantic duo. So I'm applying this strictly onto the Shape Tape base, and I'm dabbing it on to prevent fallout. For the inner corner of the eye, I'm going to be applying Late Night. Now, Late Night is going to be my highlight in the inner corner of the eye, and I'm using a pencil brush to apply it. Now it's time for the glitter. I'm going to be using LA Splash Cosmetics. This is their Midnight Elixir, and this is basically a glitter glue that's going to ensure that your glitter lasts all day and is not falling into your eye, because you know what? Cut corneas and cut eyeballs from glitter, it's not sexy. So we got to make sure that that glitter is completely on, and I'm using a liner brush to ensure that it's a very thin line. The glitter that I'm going to be using is Mai Tai, and this is their crystallized glitter. It's very fine, it's very smooth, it's not going to feel like scratching on your lid. So even if you have a hooded eyelid, you can use this glitter. Now as you can see, I'm only doing halfway, so if you have very hooded eyelids, this is an option you can choose. You don't have to completely cut the crease. You can go halfway, and this will prevent, again, creasing. It'll prevent glitter from getting everywhere, because the problem with hooded eyelids is that the crease becomes invisible. So if you're doing your shadow slightly below the crease, you could do your glitter right above that, and it falls right kind of above the crease, so it's like it's that happy medium. Once the glitter has been applied, I'm applying my liner, and I'm going for a traditional winged liner, and I'm using the Absolute New York Duo Stroke Liner. I love this liner because you got options. You got a thick end and a thin end. So if you need to define areas, you can do it. If you want to get that thick wing right away, if you're like a seasoned pro and you're like bam bam bam, let's get it done, you can do that. So I like that I have options, especially if you mess up and you want to go back and you just need like a fine tip. You have two ends too, so that makes it easier. Now my wing liner is following my shadow. One thing I love about applying such a dark shadow into the outer V is it kind of gives you a guide of where you would put your liner. Like, you really don't need tape and credit cards and all that stuff, all those gimmicks, people using forks and knives and, like they're about to eat dinner on their face. No, you don't need any of that nonsense. Just follow the natural line from the end of the corner of your eye to the end of your brow, or follow the natural line of the eyeshadow you created. It's very simple. Now for my brows, I'm going to be applying Benefit Cosmetics. This is the Gimme Brow, and this is just going to get my brows in shape. It's going to get them to kind of stick. They're not going to be bushy in 2 hours. Like, it really helps to get everything precise. Speaking of precise, I'm using the Maybelline Brow Precise Pencil to fill in my brow, define my shape, and really just give me a better looking eyebrow, because I have very bushy eyebrows, but they're completely misshapen. They're like bedhead eyebrows. That's the best way to describe them. So I use soft, short strokes. Again, I don't really do the Instagram brow, so if you come here for Instagram brows, I'm sorry guys. I do everyday people brows, where I want my brows but a little bit better. So I'm filling them in soft, short strokes. I don't want them to look too fake. I just want them to look better than they normally do. So as you can see, there's a bit of a difference between my natural brow and a groomed brow. Now for my lashes, I'm going to be using the Eyelure Cosmetics. Now these are the Nicole Guerrero 143 lashes, and they really complement the look because they're bold, they're spiky, they're uncommon, and they're definitely going to pair well with bolder, heavier looks. Like, you wouldn't want to use this for an everyday look. And I just pinch the lash onto my lid. I don't use tweezers or all that. Just pinch, 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 get it as close to the lash line as possible. And as you can see, big difference between my natural lashes and the falsies. But I do like to finish up with a mascara. I'm using the L'Oreal Cosmetics Voluminous Lash Paradise, and this is pretty much like a dupe for Better Than Sex mascara by Too Faced. The packaging and the brush and just the application overall is very similar. For my highlight, I'm going for Gerard Cosmetics. This is their Starlit palette, and I'm using the shade Grace, and I'm using my Mata brush. This is a highlight brush. I love using smaller, denser, kind of I love using smaller, fluffier brushes to do highlight because it really allows you to get that super bling. A fan brush kind of gives you a more diffused look, so depending on the look you're going for, if you want a more diffused look, go for the fan. You can always amp it up by, you know, targeted application, or if you want a more targeted application right away, go for the smaller, fluffier brush. You're going to get that glow right along the top of your cheekbone. So I love that. I'm going for it and I'm layering it up because I love to glow. I'm also applying a little bit to my nose. Now for my contour, I'm using Absolute New York Strobing and Shading Palette. I'm using a blush brush from the Royal & Nickel Omnia collection. I like how this gives me that bold Robert Palmer girl kind of contour, kind of, you know, really defined cheek. I don't like using too much of a fluffy brush because I feel like it just goes everywhere. This is much more targeted. And honestly, I believe that brushes are multi-use. You can use them for whatever you want. You don't need to just use them for what the label says. Now for my lips, I'm using the Lancome's Le Lipstick lip pencil in clear, and this is going to prevent any bleeding or fading, and it's going to help your liquid lipstick last longer. Not that I really need it for the liquid lipstick that I'm using, but it's kind of like an insurance plan. It just keeps things in place. It velcros things in place, and it makes sure that nothing escapes your lips. And I love that there's a brush on the other end. It helps me really blend the product out. For my lips, I have 3 choices, and I'm using 3 choices from the LiveGlam Kiss Me monthly subscription, where you get to try different lipsticks every month, and you get 3 lipsticks for $19.99, which is pretty amazing. Now these are the shades for February, and honestly I liked all of them, but the gloss wasn't really my favorite because I tend to use like darker colors, so the other 2 shades were really way more my style. Now I was really torn up between using this pink and the next shade. This pink was really, really beautiful. It applied perfectly. It was very, very smooth. It's kind of like a more medium toned Barbie pink, and by the way, this shade is called Valentine, so it's a very, very pretty pink. The first the glossy shade was called Flirt, and this shade is called Valentine. It's definitely a Valentine shade. It's a romantic, soft, kind of girly shade. The next shade though, this was my jam. This is what I live for. And this shade is called Secret Admirer. I love darker, bolder shades. Like it's just my aesthetic, and I love how it kind of matches the eye look. It matches the darker tones in the cut crease, like above the cut crease, the transitional shades. I feel like it worked well. All of these shades applied fantastically. No bleeding, no feathering. They were lightweight. They were easy to build up. If you wanted to layer them, you can do that as well. And they lasted about 6 hours. I would say 6 to 7 depending on what you're doing. Like if you're eating greasy foods, they're not going to last as long, but overall I loved these shades. Very easy to work with, and they dried pretty quickly, like the matte shades. Let me know which one you guys thought was your favorite. Disclaimer, I did receive the Lancome La Base Pro lipstick liner, foundation, Kiss Me lipsticks, and Grace highlight, all complimentary from their respective brands. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you guys found it easy to follow. If there's anything you guys specifically want to see, please be sure to leave me a comment down below, send me an email, send me a DM. I'm always reading everything you guys have to say. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like it and subscribe. If you aren't already, please be sure to head over to my Instagram at Recycled Stardust. Follow me. On my Instagram, I post makeup swatches, tutorials, flat lays, and my makeup looks. And on my makeup looks, I have a little makeup recipe that gives you a detailed recipe, like a makeup recipe. Every product I've used in the look. This way you don't have to worry about me just tagging the brand. Nope, I let you know the product, the brand, and sometimes even how I used it. So it's like a condensed version of what I do here. So if you don't have 10 minutes to watch one of my tutorials, you can always head over to my Instagram, look at my looks, and there you go. You don't need to, you know, nice and little condensed. Great for some quick inspiration. So I'd love to know what you guys thought about this video. Leave me some comments. Let me know what you want to see. Yada, yada, yada. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching.